Hello and welcome to Language Retreat. Today we are going to look at the poem Fire and Ice, which is part of class 10 syllabus of CBSE board. Fire and Ice, the poet here is Robert Frost. We've seen one poem of Robert Frost, which is Dust of Snow, right? I had mentioned the speciality of Robert Frost, right? I had mentioned that Robert Frost generally has natural characters in his poem, but through these natural characters, he speaks about human behavior, okay? So here as well, you have two natural characters. One is fire and one is ice, right? And through these natural characters, he is trying to talk about human behavior, okay? Now let's read this poem first and then try to understand it line-wise. So Fire and Ice is the title of the poem here. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. So the poet here is talking about the end of the world. Okay. Now he says that there might be two reasons, okay, for the end of the world. The first might be fire and the second might be ice. Okay. Now there are two ways to understand this poem. Literally understand the words fire and ice, and also symbolically understand the words fire and ice. Literally what it means is the temperatures would rise so much that it would be very difficult for human beings or animals to survive that rise in temperature, and it would be the end of the world. Ice would mean exactly the opposite, that the temperatures would dip so much that it would again be difficult to survive. That is the literal meaning of fire and ice. But what the poet also means to indicate here, by the use of fire, he wants to indicate the desires of the people. Desires which are ever increasing, which are never ending. You know, you achieve something and there is always some other thing that you expect. So this is a never ending race is what he's talking about when he says fire. Okay. When he was using the word ice, he means to say hatred. Okay. Nowadays, if you observe that people have developed a lot of hatred in their minds. Okay. You hate a person just because he doesn't match your nationality, or he doesn't match your religion, or he doesn't match the way you think. Then you cannot live with the differences, but it gives rise to hatred in your mind. That is what he's pointing at by the use of ice. So fire and ice. Fire refers to the desires of the people, the never-ending, ever-increasing desires, and ice refers to the hatred that we have in mind for each other, and which is again increasing every day. So he says, some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. So the poet says that there are two groups of people. One group of people says that the world will end in fire. That is the result of the end of the world would be because of the desires of the people. Okay, that is fire. And the other group says that it might be because of hatred, it might be because of ice. From what I've tasted of desire. So he says that from what I have seen, you know, how the desires of people are increasing. I hold with those who favor fire. I hold with meaning I support. So I support that group of people who feel that fire, that is desires, would be the reason for the end of the world. Okay. Second stanza says, but if it had to perish twice, perish meaning end. Okay. So if it had to be destroyed the second time, if at all it gets a second chance, I think I know enough of hate. So I've seen enough hate as well to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. Suffice meaning that would be sufficient, that will be enough. So yeah, I've seen enough of hate as well. So if at all fire doesn't destroy the world completely, there are high chances that ice, that is hatred, would do the remaining destruction. Now, let's look at the rhyme scheme of this poem. Fire, A. Ice doesn't rhyme with fire, so B. Desire rhymes with fire, so A, and fire again, so A. So for the first stanza, okay, the rhyme scheme is A, B, A, A. Now, if you look at the second stanza, it has got 5 lines. So the rhyme scheme will be different, obviously. Twice has got A, hate has got B, because hate doesn't rhyme with twice. Ice rhymes with twice, so A. Great rhymes with hate, so B. Suffice rhymes with ice and twice, so A. So for the second stanza, your rhyme scheme is A, B, A, B, A. This stanza had 4 lines and this stanza had 5, and so the difference. I hope things are clear. Moving on to the poetic devices or the figures of speech. The basic first poetic device used here is the symbolism. Okay, fires. The fire here represents the desires of the people. The ice here represents the hatred that people have for each other, right? So this is called as metaphor. Okay, it is a comparison without using like or as. It's a direct comparison. The first 2 lines of the poem, some say, they begin with the same word or words, right? So the figure of speech here is called as anaphora. Anaphora is when 2 consecutive lines, 2 or more consecutive lines of the poem begin with the same word or words. So here some say. Okay, that's why it is anaphora. They have to be consecutive lines, remember. Okay, first and third, first and fifth nahi chalega. All right. So that was the second one. Now this kind of metaphor, okay, is also called as extended metaphor. I'll tell you why. Extended metaphor तब बोला जाता है जब एक particular जो metaphor है वो एक लाइन के लिए नहीं पर पूरी पोएम के लिए अप्लाई होता है. Then you call it as extended metaphor. So here when we call as desires representing fire and hatred representing ice, this applies for the entire poem, right? So you call it as extended metaphor. If metaphor applies only for a single line, then it is only a metaphor. The 4th line of the first stanza, hold those who and favor. The O vowel repeats in this line, right? So this is called as assonance. Assonance is when a particular vowel sound repeats throughout a line. Okay. Then you have enjambment. Okay, it is there in line number 1. Enjambment is when there is no punctuation mark at the end of the line and the idea is continued in the next line. This okay. The words fire. Sorry. Here, fire and ice have been given human qualities of destruction. They are said to destroy the world, right? So they have been given human qualities of destruction. So you call it as personification. They have been personified. All right. So that is it about the poem. I think we've covered everything. But still, in case there is a doubt in your mind, please feel free to use the comment section and I would definitely be happy to help. So stay tuned.